This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. Only 4 days to championship weekend. Here we go. Whitlock contends Aaron Rodgers needs to win Sunday to make this remarkable run memorable. Colin lays down a unique defense of Antonio Brown and questions if this would happen a lot more if we had the social media tools then like we have now. It's a great point, actually. I mean, think about it. Terrell Owens in the locker room with Facebook Live and Twitter and Instagram. Of course, he'd be going crazy. Deion Sanders. Think about it. Super Bowl champ and Heisman Trophy winner Reggie Bush joins the show to talk Aaron Rodgers. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard is here to talk Kevin Durant. And Jimmy Jackson, the FS1 college basketball analyst, going to talk a little Russell Westbrook. And, of course, Chris Carter in the building again. He's got some information on Antonio Brown and celebrations. He's worried Brown could become Odell Beckham Jr. Interesting stuff. Ready for Speak For Yourself? Cowherd and Whitlock, take it away.
All right, welcome to the show. Colin thinks Big Ben has more on the line this weekend than Tom Brady.
And Jason finally agrees with me about Russell Westbrook. About time. Speak For Yourself starts now.
I do. I was disappointed last night watching that game.
Embarrassing.
Russell, it was bad.
Discouraging.
It was bad. We'll get to that. All right, hello and welcome. Joining the panel today are Hall of Famer Chris Carter and Super Bowl champ, Heisman Trophy winner, the only man to survive Kardashian Island and live to tell about it, Reggie Bush. All right, let's begin in Green Bay, where Aaron Rodgers is potentially preparing to make a little history. Actually, I think it's significant history. Rodgers and the Packers could be the first NFL franchise to rally from a 4-6 start and advance to the Super Bowl. Only 2 teams have ever started 4-6 and made it to the conference championship. Neither of those two advanced. In my mind, a win on Sunday for Rodgers validates him as an NFL immortal. Colin, does he need this victory on Sunday to validate this incredible run?
No, I think it's been established he is the most talented person to do this in 20 years. A win or a loss doesn't mean anything. I think he has the least healthy team left, the least talented team left. I think what he has done is absolutely incredible. His 3 of his top 4 receivers would not play this week in a regular season game. His running back wears number 88. Okay, I mean, it's remarkable. What I have seen, and I always liked him, but what I am seeing now is what I've never bought into this. You got to win titles to be an all-star. Charles Barkley and Marino don't have them. I've never bought into this. This game will change it. You ask quarterbacks in this league who they like to watch. It used to be Favre, now it's Aaron Rodgers. Even Brady acknowledges he does stuff I can't do.
Look, I've been calling the guy Michael Jackson during this whole stretch. He's Thriller, he's putting on a performance, he's moonwalking. But you do have to stick the landing if you want this thing to be remembered 20 years down the road. And so I think advancing to the Super Bowl, doing something that no NFL team has ever done, I think sticks the landing and makes sure that 25 years from now, people are still talking about this. And so I think he's in rare air. I think he can completely rarefy it by advancing to the Super Bowl.
Well, only if he advances to the Super Bowl and they win. If he goes to the Super Bowl and they lose, he hasn't hit the landing. Yeah. It's just Michael Jackson creating another song. So for me, I've seen enough. Yeah. I know he's amazing. I know he's a genius. Yeah. He already has the Super Bowl cachet. Now his regular season is living up to his talent. But also, the way they've done things in Green Bay, the way they've tried to build internally, they don't go out. They don't make big free agent signings. They haven't added big high-priced guys or old veterans. Only Peppers is one of the few guys that they've gone in free agency and added. So he's done it a different type of way. Yeah. But I've seen enough. When I saw Michael Jackson early, I knew that he was going to be a genius. I feel the same way, Reggie, about Aaron Rodgers.
I think to your point is doing something that's never been done before. I remember when we were, in New Orleans and we got to the playoffs, and we still felt like, and a lot of people felt like we didn't really belong there. Like we were just on this magical run because we were kind of playing off of the city and what everybody had been through during the storm. Now, every game we won, we felt like we were making history. And then when we got to the Super Bowl, I remember the day before the game, Sean Payton put up the Vegas odds, and the Vegas odds were heavily favored on Peyton Manning and the Colts. And that fueled us even more to go out and play harder and win that game. And sometimes that's all you need is just that little bit, because when you get to that Super Bowl game, you need that X factor. You need just a little bit of something more. So I think, to your point, is if he does win this game, then that kind of puts him.
I want to add an extra layer to it. And Colin, I think you will enjoy this. I don't think the NFL has had the most compelling athlete for a long time, or maybe ever. And I think, again, if he sticks the landing, goes to the Super Bowl, and especially if he wins it, now all of a sudden, because he's dating Olivia Munn, because he's got a little family drama, because he is the athlete playing at the highest level right now, he's more compelling, more interesting than LeBron James or any athlete that's out there. And now the NFL's always been about team. They've never had an individual that just completely dwarfed or exploded as big as the league. I think he could be the guy.
You know, I will say this about sticking the landing, because I think we all acknowledge he's great. Like, he's great. Like, I'm not going to think more or less of him. But I will say this. The media and American consumers like stories. If Aaron wins, I would make an argument it's the least talented roster to win a Super Bowl.
Yes.
It's definitely one of them.
You guys.
I would have to think about that.
It's not only, if healthy, a good to average roster. It's not healthy. That's sticking. Then you have me. I can always go. By the way, it's a story. Remember Aaron's team?
Yes.
Ty Montgomery wore 88.
Yeah.
So I think that's sticking the landing, to your point. It will be a great story that 30 years later is remember the worst team ever to win.
Chris, everything's about the shield. And Aaron Rodgers is making the story. It's him.
Well, as long as Tom Brady is in New England, it's hard to kind of be the face because Tom Brady is going to pass Joe Montana as the winningest, most accomplished quarterback ever. So he would still be playing in an era where Tom Brady was still. So he would.
You don't think that would snatch it from Brady?
No. Any quarterback that's still playing in this era will always be in the shadow of Tom Brady because of their dominance.
Hold on. If he finishes this, how is he not snatching this from Brady?
Tom Brady's doing it the same way. They don't do it with the most accomplished receiving group.
But again, among his peers, who you want to sit down and see play? Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady?
That's different than most accomplished.
I'm not talking about accomplished. I'm just talking about biggest star. He would be a bigger star.
I want to play with Tom Brady.
Bigger than Tom Brady?
Yes.
I don't know about being bigger than Tom Brady.
No. Giselle.
Here you go, Giselle.
Endorsements.
No.
Playing for the most historic franchise.
He wears
in all
his
of sports.
own hat. When you wear your own hat, you have your own logos.
He got his own pajamas.
Michael Jackson took a backseat to no one. All right, welcome back to the show. We're joined on the panel now by Fox NBA analyst Chris Broussard and 14-year NBA veteran Jim Jackson. Let's talk some Russell Westbrook, who took on Kevin Durant for the second time last night. The Thunder once again got blown out by the Warriors, and Westbrook got blown up by Zaza Pachulia, who was issued a flagrant foul after taking OKC star to the ground. Westbrook addressed the foul after the game.
He hit me kind of hard, but sorry, I'm going to get his ass back. Straight up. I don't play that game. I'm going to get his ass back.
Colin, there's a reason why Westbrook is talking about he's going to get his ass back, because none of his teammates did anything to Zaza. You surprised no one caped up for Westbrook?
I'm not. I think Russell Westbrook is dynamic and transcendent talent. I don't think he plays well with others. I think he's been a little bit unhinged. I think he lacks a self-awareness. I've said this about him before. If I started an NBA franchise, there's 5 to 6 guys I'd take before him. He may be more talented than all of them, including LeBron. But I thought last night was embarrassing. I thought this was marginal contact. I mean, I ran a minute and a half of video on my show today of 70s, 80s, 90s NBA basketball. Violent, dangerous car crashes. That's a bump you have in a food court. I mean, that is marginal. When you get off a plane, you bump into people getting your luggage harder than that. And then this is the reaction.
7 foot.
Oh, give me a break.
7 foot,
I think he got hit in the face, though.
No.
He didn't get hit in the face?
He hit him in the face, but here's the thing. But it goes back to culturally where we're at. Okay, it's accepted that's a hard foul. When I remember I got clotheslined and taken out by Rodney Rodgers, full court when I was in Dallas. I'm full in the air, got taken out. You know what they call it? It's a regular foul. When I used to go through the lane, they were taught big guys to hit you with an elbow. It's just a different time. And now players are going to react that way. They're gonna like LeBron when he got hit by.
That was no worse than Draymond.
Hold on, I want to add a little context. Okay. I want to show LeBron James and how his teammates reacted when he got hit.
All right.
Look at the reaction from his teammates.
Oh, right. Oh, how's our guy?
Okay, okay, I see what you're saying.
Very
but
interesting.
If you look at that, they were behind the play. They saw clearly what happened, right? Draymond take him out. If you look at Westbrook, all his teammates, most of them didn't even see it. Cantor, who was the closest, didn't even see what Zaza did to him because his back is turned, and then he comes back and he kind of pushes Zaza out of the way
Chris,
a little.
I'm going to say this, though. If that was Steph, okay, and he was running the pick and roll, and he hit the ground like that.
There'd be a skirmish with
those
other
guys
players.
would run and go pick him up. Now, not that they don't like Westbrook. I'm sure because he's a really good guy. So playing with him and liking him is two different things.
So
That's
you
two
saying
different
guys,
things.
are you saying this is emblematic of guys not liking?
No.
Look.
I don't think they like the opportunity to play with Westbrook, but I don't know if they're enamored with that because he's on them so much.
This doesn't feel like a team anymore. It feels like Westbrook's highlight
Look at
show.
the wing player who's staring at the entire thing. Is that Zingler?
They got there, but they didn't rush. They got there. Now watch.
Now
they come into the play, but they come there, but it's not like we see. Now again, the culture in Oklahoma City is a lot different than it is in Golden State or Cleveland.
And I would say this too. Look, they're young. They got 11 players, 25 and under. You know this, Jimmy.
Youngest team in the league.
Hold on, young players, especially young role players. They're not gonna look at a superstar, an established superstar, and be critical of him? You think? I don't think. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they can even have the right to feel like we don't like playing with him. Who are they? to say they don't like playing with Westbrook?
We all watched the game. We did.
Yeah.
In the first half, Oklahoma City gave a great effort, I thought, but Westbrook was playing the wrong way. His shot selection was poor. I saw the seeds being planted for what transpired in the second half. I thought the energy from OKC was down. I'm looking at a team, and I've been a huge Westbrook defender because I came in this year thinking he was going to adjust and grow the way Harden did. He hasn't, and I'm looking at a frustrated team that's like, hey, man, we thought Kevin Durant leaving would have taught you a lesson about how to play and how to share the ball. I think this team is better than what they're playing. Westbrook is just playing the wrong way, and he's taking the heart out of this team.
I'm going to go back to this. Accountability. He's had none since he's been in OKC. Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan was accountable. Shaq with Phil Jackson in L.A., accountable. Tim Duncan, Ginobili, accountable. Pat Riley with Alonzo Mourning, accountable. Since he's been, even when Kevin Durant was there, who held them accountable? That's why they lost when they were up 3-1, because they allowed them to take the bad shots.
I saw a story, and I think it may have been yours, it may have been your former employer, but I remember a story in which I read recently when there was a divorce, KD and Westbrook, and KD had grown frustrated and went to the front office and said, who's holding him accountable?
That is exact. Look, Russ and KD were friends. We know that, okay? KD never went to Russell like, hey, I ain't touched the ball in the last.
Who did he go to?
He was upset that Scott Brooks, who was the head coach, wouldn't hold Russ accountable.
So that goes to Jim's point.
Exactly what you said.
Where's Billy Donovan?
It's the same thing.
Last year,
it's the same thing.
Billy wasn't holding him accountable. But this is the thing. How good do you expect them to be? If Westbrook was playing like Maurice Cheeks, you think they'd be better?
No, he shouldn't be playing like Maurice Cheeks. He can play better than that. I think their personnel's better than you think.
But
we have a disagreement.
There were 7 games over 500 or something?
No, but let's forget the record.
They're not going to be a contender no matter how he plays.
Okay, there's 3 NBA players I've been rough on that are largely loved by everybody else. John Wall, Derrick Rose, and Melo. My knock on all of them isn't talent. It's lack of self-awareness, of which I've always beat Westbrook up for. I think KD has it. Steph has it. Bosh, Wade. The great ones have it. Magic, Bird. I don't think Westbrook has a great deal of self-awareness. I think it's what hurt him in the end to KD. Not understanding that with a minute left, you give the better shooter the rock. I think in this instance, he is not seeing the big picture. When I watch OKC and all these triple-doubles, you know what I think? I think great players in the league are going, wow, no interest playing with that.
Well, and Colin, it goes back to this too, though. Even with Melo, when Melo is with the Team USA, when he's surrounded by the right people and coach, he's a different player.
Yep. Yep.
I love Russ. I love the way he plays. He can play on my team any day. But I would make him accountable. I'm going to go back to the word accountable. He hasn't been held to that standard, so he doesn't know. And he's not built like, even in Cleveland, Tyronn Lue last year was going to take LeBron out the game. LeBron said, no, I want to go back in. He said, no, I'm going to put you back in a minute. They don't have that in OKC, and that's why he's allowed to play.
He's running the whole franchise.
Someone's got to put him in check. We got to go to break. But I do want to remind you all, when Rodney Rodgers hit Jim Jackson, we got to remember, that inspired Tony Braxton to do the song, Don't Hit My Baby Like That. You remember the song, Don't Hit My Baby Like That?
All right, welcome back. Joining the panel once again, Hall of Famer Chris Carter, Super Bowl
receiver.
Yeah. Let's talk Antonio Brown, who's been taking a lot of heat from the media and teammates and his coach this week over his live stream of the Steelers' locker room after they beat the Chiefs. I already made a lot of money on that. Brown offered a public apology for his behavior yesterday.
I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes. But as a man, I own up to those mistakes. I was genuinely excited in that moment. Wanted to get the fans an in-tune experience in regards of being excited after a game. But I think what people know what I stand for, what I represent, and what type of person I am.
Antonio, do you have a contract with Facebook?
It's top secret.
Over 200 grand, I was told. All right, you believe Brown's apology?
No, because, Esquire, I think, has reported he got $224,000. I think the apology is some smart PR by him and the people around him, because what he doesn't want to be is OBJ from the first round of the playoffs, the guy that gets scapegoated if they happen to lose. You don't want to do that to your brand. And so he's trying to get out in front of it and come up with as sincere an apology as he can, but he got paid. He sold his teammates out, and I would imagine his teammates have ripped him for it privately.
I never buy into this. People can't control themselves. The multiple fines, the twerking. Antonio Brown, everybody can control themselves. I do give players, I understand they are branding. I get the game. I get guys can be more flamboyant, they're more colorful, they play with their shoes, their hair. It's post-football, it's branding. As Chris always says, I'm a big fan of be great, the branding will take care of itself. Yeah. But I got nothing against Antonio. I met him, I liked him. I know somebody who knows him well and likes him. I think he's a good person. But we're living in a different age. Yeah. And even good kids can be really selfish. I think it's a tough time, man. I think it is.
Society's very selfish.
Listen, I hear old people all the time complain about young people. And I say to myself, you didn't have a phone and a computer and a TV on your phone. Yeah.
Or $220,000.
So I think Antonio is a cautionary tale of what young guys face. And even as a good guy on a great team and a terrific organization, he got trapped. Yeah. I don't think he's a bad guy. Yeah. It was immature. But I see it a lot now. A lot.
As you know, what happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. Yes. And that's kind of, it's always been that way for the most part. And sometimes every now and then you get a guy that kind of goes outside those lines. And I hope it's not true that he got paid $224,000. That's a lot of money, but...
Makes it feel like he sold the team out.
It would definitely make you feel like that. And, and then to put the coach in that situation, I'm just glad he didn't say something crazier than what he said, because I've been around some coaches post-game. You get a big win. They say some crazy stuff, and it's part of the atmosphere. Everybody's happy, everybody's excited, but what happens in the locker room stays in the locker room, and it's scary because the time period we live in now, now you can go live. As I remember before, a couple years ago, it was think before you press send. Now you hit the live button, it's live. You can't take it back.
Well, I think he's sincere, because just like any other kid, when you get caught and you have to apologize, it's forced. So how sincere would it have been? Would he have been apologizing if he hadn't been caught? Of course not. Right. So he's got to make the decision as far as going forward, what's his brand and image going to look like? Because if you don't control your image will control you. Now, he's done some really cute things. The first time he twerked, I thought it was hilarious. Yeah. I thought it was pretty original. When he grabbed the goalpost. He's done some other things that I thought they were very, very entertaining. And as a wide receiver, I'm more than cake. All right, I'm more than cake. I'm more than cake. I'm the icing. That's the reason why they created cake and icing. All right, it's like peanut butter and jelly.
What happens?
You can eat peanut butter, but it's better with jelly.
If you eat just icing, you get sick.
Let me tell you something. What you'll do, what will happen to your football team? You won't have no swagger. You won't have no big plays. All right? When we get off the bus, Reggie will tell you, we make it happen. Like, listen, we might not be good to have around 6 days a week, but on the game day, we the best guys to have.
It is interesting. The OBJ-Antonio thing, it does make me think. Because the NFL season's such a grind in season, a lot of the best coaching's off season. You can break down tapes, figure out the wildcat.
Yeah.
You know, run and shoot works for an hour. Off season, you figure it out. Are GMs around this league saying, Antonio Brown, if the Steelers lose and he doesn't play well, does it hurt all wide receivers? Does it hurt the industry of the elite receivers?
No, because again, you're talking about the quarterback relies on a wide receiver. The most important guy on the field, his best friend is his wide receiver.
I just hypothetical.
So it's like a dog.
How many teams have we seen make a mistake on a number 2 wide receiver, thought he was going to be a 1? Recently, Mike Wallace going to Miami. Remember, they will pay for a wide receiver. They will pay for that productivity.
Welcome back. Joining the panel again, Chris Broussard, Jim Jackson. Let's go to KD, Kevin Durant, who was brilliant last night. He's efficient, too. I love that. Dropped 40, 12 rebounds on his old squad. Durant's been thriving with Golden State, and Fox Sports says the Warriors are starting to feel like Durant's team rather than Steph Curry's. I don't agree. Jason, who should be the face of the Warriors, KD or Steph?
Look, should has very little to do with anything in sports or anything to do in life. Who is the face of the Warriors? It's Kevin Durant. He's playing the best basketball. He is the most efficient player. He is the most important player on that team now. And so I think should is irrelevant. I think I should be probably dating Kim Kardashian.
Derek Jeter was not the most talented Yankee. I could argue he wasn't the most talented shortstop on the Yankees. A-Rod was and moved to third.
Yes.
He was the face of the Yankees. Steph Curry, youth, kind of this millennial, I'll get along, never subversive. I find Steph Curry as the face. Kevin Durant's the better player. I think Kevin's the second best player on earth for about the last 8 years. Mm-hmm. Steph, to me, feels like San Francisco. He feels millennial. He feels youthful. This team feels very communal to me. And I think he's the face of that community, the star willing to relinquish the spotlight. That feels like, if you said Warriors brand, I'd be like Silicon Valley, smart, youthful, communal, giving, unselfish. That is Steph.
I'm with Colin on this one. Steph sets the tone. I know Draymond's the inspirational leader. KD's now the best player. But that unselfishness that they have in that organization, that is set by Steph Curry. And you don't have to be the best player to be the face of the team. People tell me all the time, legends, that Kareem was better than Magic. That if you rank them, Kareem's going to be higher than Magic in all-time rankings. But whose team was it? Magic was the face of that team. When the Sixers won in 1983, Moses Malone, MVP.
But it was Dr. J.
But it was Dr. J, the face of the team. Even recently with the Spurs, Duncan hasn't been the best player for a while, but he was still the face of that team in their last year.
Here's the difference. LeBron to Miami. They kept saying, it's Miami's team. It's Miami's team. But the aura of LeBron eventually took over.
For D-Wade.
For D-Wade. It's the same thing with KD. KD is quiet, but it's his game. It's the way he plays. Steph is the cute, lovable kind of guy. But really, when you look at KD and how he plays the game, slowly that transition is with KD. Whether we like it or not, he's a transformative type of player.
We're not saying who's the best.
No, to be the face.
Chris,
to me.
Chris, one of the things you left out there when you talked about Dr. J and Kareem, these guys were all over 34. And the other guy, this is Steph in his prime. This isn't an old Steph Curry like a Dr. J that had a long legacy with the 76ers.
I mean, he still was a 21-point,
remember,
over
to be
50% from the
people largely, we do. But most of America doesn't watch the NBA until the conference finals. Then the numbers explode. Right. Then you get to the finals.
And who's going to draw them? Steph or KD?
Well, my point being is, even though we are acknowledging things here, to be the face of a team, it's also part of the public's perception. And the public doesn't go all in on the NBA until football's done, March Madness is done. Then the NBA owns the world in May and June for about 7 weeks. Right now, it's still Steph's team to a majority of American consumers. With your take, I think when the playoffs happen and the world watches KD, because I think KD's remarkable.
Yeah.
And on this team, you can't double him now.
And
so
if
it's
Steph
just
struggles again, say they play Cleveland, he struggles one more time for the third time against Cleveland.
I'm telling you, the brand now feels Steph, but it's almost like March Madness. That's when we watch college basketball, and it changes our perception in 2 weeks.
I think it's still arguable that Steph is even maybe the most important player. Because when he's aggressive, early in the season, he's getting KD involved. They weren't playing quite as well. In January, he's taken the most shots by far, and they're playing, even against Cleveland. He was just aggressive. He's got to play just like he did last year as far as taking those crazy shots, getting assists, forcing the action. Even when Durant has it going, they need Steph playing that way because everybody else is off balance because of his shooting range.
Listen, I love Steph Curry. I really do, but he's not 7 foot. And that size and that efficiency and the way Durant's playing eventually is just going to cast a shadow over that entire team.
Steph also controls the ball, though, as the point guard.
But it's easier to take Steph out of the game, like Cleveland has done. Even when they were down and injured, he's not as efficient against Cleveland. It's hard to take Durant out the game.
You can't take him out.
If he's out the game, that means he's just missing shots.
To Foxborough, where Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger will face off in Sunday's AFC Championship game. Another Super Bowl win would give Big Ben's legacy, to me, a huge bump. While I think a bad performance from Brady could open the door for Jimmy Garoppolo, thoughts, or next season playing. Jason, to you, who has more on the line, Big Ben or Brady?
I think Big Ben does because, again, as Chris has established, he's a Hall of Famer. And most people believe Brady's in the conversation, he or Joe Montana, for the greatest quarterback of all time. Another Super Bowl helps his argument, but I don't know if it finishes the argument. For Big Ben to get in that category with the Rodgers stallbacks and just put himself in the conversation with the great quarterbacks, he needs this more than Tom Brady, in my opinion. He's had a remarkable career, but he's got to get past the silliness and the immorality things that he was involved in. He dirtied up his reputation early in his career with his off-the-field behavior. If he adds another Super Bowl...
Brady's checked all the boxes.
Yes.
He won early. He won late.
Right.
He won with a great defense. He won with a pretty average defense. Tom has won carrying a team. There was a defense that carried a team. So I think Tom has checked every single box. Big Ben needs about one more box.
Ben can add to the legacy, and especially that great legacy that exists in the building that he's in, and that's within the Pittsburgh Steelers. But also, defeating a great quarterback, that would add to it.
Yeah.
Now, that gives Ben 3 and him 4, and also, who's to say this is not Ben, even though he's younger, this is his last time getting the chance. I think Brady's going to get 2 or 3 more chances. He said he's going to play 3 or 4 more years, so he's going to get the law of averages, AFC Championship. He's going to be back in another one for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. So for me, it's bigger for Ben, the opportunity to get 2, 3, and also what you said, post all the other off-the-field stuff because it gives him that tight, buttoned-up CEO. He's done some other things. He's worked on his mechanics. He's tried to change his game, and he's tried to change his overall image and the things that he does off the field. So, Reggie, I think number 3 for Ben would be more monumental than Brady moving on.
And I also think, to your point, what you said is to beat a great quarterback at home, nonetheless. But doing it from the AFC wild card position is even harder. Now you don't have a home game. You had to play every game on the road.
Right.
And that's hard in itself.
Right.
If you look at, a lot of the teams that have won the Super Bowls in the last couple of years.
Well, Pittsburgh played the first game. They beat Miami.
Right.
All right.
At home, yeah.
Right. Sorry. You're right. That was at home.
But they still played the 3
But still,
games.
then now you have to beat the Patriots at home, which is Tom Brady doesn't lose at home, which we all know. And it's hard to go in there and beat them and Bill Belichick. So.
You know, there's stratus to everything. I'll use a Hollywood example. Tom Hanks is Brady. Been around forever, a lot of checks, a lot of Oscars, a lot of wins. Another Oscar doesn't elevate him. Big Ben has had some success, Ryan Gosling. But if he won an Oscar for La La Land, it's a whole different ballgame. Well, he is the biggest new star for the moment.
The first step the first hurdle Ben's got to get over is to become the best quarterback in franchise history. I think that third one gives him an argument with Terry Bradshaw.
Because right now it's Bradshaw, Big Ben.
Yeah, let's start there. Hop over Terry Bradshaw, then you can start discussing him with some of the other all-time greats. And so, yeah, I think more is riding on this. I'm a little bit surprised you're there because you think Brady needs to play really well this weekend.
No, that's a different argument. But I think Tom's at the end of the career. That's why he's doing all these commercials. He never did commercials. Tom knows that, the endorsement well is running out. He's not playing on Sundays in front of 32 million anymore. I've always thought Big Ben's been a quarterback I love. He's what I thought Cam would eventually be. He gives me the great talent, the great size. Cam doesn't give me the precision of Big Ben. I think he's had some coaching issues. I like Tomlin, don't love him. I kind of feel that Big Ben has, and I hate to say underachieved, the country needs one more great Big Ben moment.
How can you underachieve with Brady, Manning, all the other...
But think about this.
All the things he's been up against his whole career.
Brady and Big Ben are meeting for the second time. Now think about this. Because Manning was so dominant, Big Ben and Brady have met twice. He has been overshadowed to a large degree despite his dominance. I think Big Ben needs this. Not to me or football guys, but in the public sphere, a Super Bowl with him really elevates him to the Troy Aikman class.
Yeah, I got to get back to that Ball State math where 3 is equal to 4. My boy Terry Bradshaw sitting there saying, now, listen now, okay, I got 4, he'll have 3. That's that new stuff.
But again,
that's that.
Hold on, what about the math? Why isn't it different? Again, you said it, Brady in the AFC, Manning in the AFC,
right?
Ray Lewis in Baltimore in the AFC North. He's had a little harder road to hold.
How much money Ray sends you every time you mention him?
He comes up in every
topic.
Enough.
I mean, my goodness.
You talk NBA, Ray's a talking point.
I think if you also look at it from Brady's perspective, you know he wants to win because you look back at the 4-game suspension that he had, and he wants to stick it to Roger Goodell, and he wants to prove all the fans wrong that despite that I was gone for these 4 games, it's not just Bill Belichick. You know what I mean? It's me and Bill Belichick. Or maybe to his ego, it's me.
This is the Speak For Yourself podcast featuring the best of Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. I'm your host, Jason McIntyre. Oh, boy. Some of these Twitter questions we ask are really loaded. Today was a good one because there's really no right answer. It's totally subjective. You ask 100 people, you get 51-49 split. Here's the question. Who's more important to the Patriots' success? Bill Belichick or Tom Brady? Let me quickly remind you, Bill Belichick did not win in Cleveland. He got 1 playoff trip, didn't win a playoff game, and was fired. Tom Brady was a 6th-round pick. Right? Here we go. At my ATLians. Bill by far. Brady's body ages at a faster rate than Bill's mind. Plug in another quarterback and Bill could lead them to victory. Now listen, I speculated that on this show. We saw Garoppolo, and these guy got shouted down. No, come on. Listen, I think it's safe to say Tom Brady, greatest quarterback of all time, right? 4 Super Bowl rings, 3 MVPs, 3 comebacks in the Super Bowl. But remember, Jimmy Garoppolo fills in. He wins. Jacoby Brissett fills in. He wins a game. Matt Castle filled in for a season, and I think they won 10 or 11 games. So it can be done with the Belichick system. That doesn't take anything away from Brady. Both can be right. Nuance is okay, people. And the other good tweet we got was from @PeteLeeRyan. How important was Bill's success to the Browns? Tom has always been great. Bill has not. Well, yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. But when you say Tom has always been great, 6th-round pick. Is Tom Brady if he goes to, I don't know, the Buffalo Bills or the Minnesota Vikings? Is he? We don't know. We have no idea, and that's why this is such a great question. It's loaded, and there's no right answer. Thanks for listening, everybody. Also, we got some cool news. Starting tomorrow, you can hear a lot more of me, because I know you can't wait to hear more of me, Whitlock and Cowherd on Sirius XM Channel 83. Also, let me plug my Saturday morning Fox Sports radio show. That'll be on Sirius as well. Entire Fox lineup, undisputed, all of it. Sirius Channel 83 starting tomorrow. We'll talk to you then.